Good afternoon, everyone. We're back again this Saturday during President's Week. We're excited about this week's version. This week we get back to the offense. We're talking about offense. We're going to try and keep the videos. The goal right now is to try and keep the videos close to 20 minutes. So if we run out of time, we'll just do the second version of it next week. We're talking about offense. We're talking about inside zone run pass option today. So we're evolving a little bit as we go along. This is exciting stuff. This stuff we could probably talk about for the next 3 to 4 weeks because there's so many different things you can do off of this. So many formations you can do it off of. So many backfield sets. You can do it off of motion. But for today, we're just going to talk to you about the meat and potatoes of the inside zone, okay, and what I attributed it to. Once again, Jerry Flora, good to see you again. Former head football coach at William Patterson, 28 years plus coaching experience in college and higher ed. And like I said, doing these videos on a weekly basis. So please, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, like it and hit the bell, and we'll keep doing videos once a week. Obviously with my sidekick, my son Frankie, doing a lot of the legwork behind the scenes. So we're going to get right into it. We're not going to waste any time. So what I drew up here today was a 4-4 defense with the 3 technique to the strength. So once again, if you're a football guy or a football person, you'll know that the 3 technique shades outside of the guard. That's a 3 technique. Whereas where the nose is, that's a 2-eye inside the guard. We consider this a 5 technique here, and then a 5 technique here. 5 technique is outside shade of the tackle. Predominantly, you want to run the zone to the 3 technique is the best. And my years of doing this and working with various offensive line coaches and Mike McCourt, Dave Pinto, Steve Ryback, probably missing a couple of guys along the way. We like to run it to the 3 technique because you get cut back to the 3 technique. So if you run to the 3 and you press the 3 and you cut back, you get the cutback. But you can run it to the 2-eye. We've done it. You have to do it to keep teams honest so that you're able to run your RPO package. Which once again, RPO stands for run pass option. Our number system was a 24 and 25. So once again, we used the 2 and the 20 for the tailback. The R was the 30. So if we were giving it to a 30 back, it would be the R. They would switch spots. And then the 4 was we were running it in the 4 hole. So essentially this is the 0. This is the 2 here. This is the 4. So it's being run predominantly in the B gap. So it's 24-25 inside zone. The code name was Indianapolis Colts. Once again, we used NFL teams for run plays. So Indianapolis Colts. So we come to the line if we were going really fast and go, as I said to you a few weeks back, we can just go brown 24. Remember brown? We use the color brown for right, color black for left. We could come to the line and say, in the East, we could say Indianapolis Colts East. East was to the right, West was to the left. We could say 24 Indianapolis. Could say Indianapolis white. White was to the right. So there's so many different things you can use, so many different code words. You can come up with hundreds of them. A lot of times we let the players come up with them. When I first started working and putting this system in 2008, when it was my first year as the head coach. But once again, basically a 4-4 look. So one of the keys here we found was we always want to try and get that tailback inside leg of the tackle. It's critical on the zone concept, I think, because it allows everything to develop a little bit fast, a little bit slower. It doesn't happen as fast. You want it to develop so that your quarterback has time to read. So let me just take a step back. So it's funny, a lot of teams run, like, let's say triple option, and you think about the traditional triple option, which is under center. Inside zone, the RPO stuff is essentially triple option. It really is. It's just a different concept of it using zone blocking. because you really have three options. You have quarterback, you have the tailback, and you have a receiver. All right, which would be the same as if you run the center, you'd have the dive back, you pitch back, you get the quarterback. So this is kind of our, and towards the end of my career, 2016 and 17, we started to run a little bit more triple option. We did it, we all used two versions of it. We ran the prototypical double team concept that I got from Coach DeMayo, which was my mentor, and we ran the zone concept. Okay, so once again, the goal, you want to try and run it to the three. You can't a lot of times. A lot of teams will shade the front to the strength. This formation for us was called trips right stack. Once again, when the West Coast offense is what we kind of derived to, we like to have a tight end in there. We always like to have a tight end in there because you can bring them in, you can flex them out. There was a couple different alignments. You could just run regular pro, which put him here. You could go pro flex, which put him like one step out. A lot of times that would give him leverage on the safety. You could go trips, which would put him 6 yards out. You could go bunch. There's a ton of different things you can do with him. But this kid's got to be an athlete. Obviously, if you got a 6'5", 260-pound kid that has a hard time running, then this is probably not going to be his role. Now, he may be an H, which is another tight end where maybe you put him on the backside, and he's maybe the guy that's always down in a three-point stance. This guy here is your hybrid guy that can do it all. He can line up here. He can line up here. You can put him back here. There's some things I'll show you about zone and loads and cutbacks and all that stuff. So basically what you got is he's at a distance of about 6 yards. 6 yards from here. We want him about 6 yards. So he's spread away from the end man on the line. Okay. You got your Z off the ball. You take your R. This was 20 personnel. You take your R, instead of putting him in the backfield, you just put him out here, okay, and you stack him. The reason the R knew he had to go out there was because what do we call? We call in this case 25. Remember I said the 2-back, which is the T, go in the 5 hole to the left. If this was 35, the T would be here, the R would be there. So that's how they know where they got to go, okay? But once again, this is called trips right, stack. And there was basically the R is stacked right behind the Y. So typically, if the Y is on the ball, the R is a step back right behind the Y. We want them right behind, okay? And we'll go over this in a second. So now if we're running 25, what we had was, when we tore our line up front, was you're always blocking half a man on zone. We're always blocking half a man on zone. We were always blocking half a man on zone because you always had an area. So the goal here on 25 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had the block basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, with twists and stunts, maybe different guys, but they were blocking an area. So these two guys were working together. These two guys were working together. And he had a solo. Okay? Okay, so these two guys are working together. We may call this tug, tackle and guard. We may call this a chug, center and guard. Okay, we may call this a solo. Call it whatever you want. Okay? And the tug meant that in the 3 technique, the tackle was stepping to secure this gap, to secure the B gap. So he was leading with his left foot to step to this gap in case there was a stunt. The right guard would step with his left foot, but he would take a shorter step. Okay? So they would combo this here. Because you want to solidify the down man first and get movement. Trying to get movement in this direction. Okay? And they would work to here. So maybe you got this game. Maybe you got this guy come here and this here. If you had that, the tackle would take the Sam, the guard would take the tackle. Okay, whatever the game is. And like I said, we spent, at Kane, when I worked with Coach Garrett, when I coached the O-line, when I was coached the O-line at FDU Madison, the line would just, we'd take a tackle and guards, put them on one side, put the centers and guards on the other side, and they would just work on every possible twist. So let's just say this is what you got. You're coming to here. Once again, the center is stepping into this gap in case the nose twists or slants. This is the critical block because this is where the ball is being run. Still steps with his left foot, but a shorter step, basically a pick it up and put it down step. So if you were zone stepping this way with the tackle, you take a really big step, horizontal forward step. Whereas if you were a post guy, you picked it up and put it down. So you stepped with your inside foot. We'd call that a post because his job was the post. Hold that guy there so that the other guy can get into the spot. The solo guy, because he was in a 5 technique, he wasn't trying to get so far outside because he didn't want that guy to cross his face. You know, because there could be a game over here. He could come here and he could go there. So it was a post step and a solid step. What we did with the X on the backside is his responsibility was to get to the free safety. So his responsibility was to get across the field and block the free safety. If the free safety wasn't there, he would then turn and block the corner. The corner would obviously run with him unless there was a corner blitz. If it was 2 safeties, let's say this safety was back here and there was a safety over here. Let me erase this. Okay, it was 2 safeties and this backer was over here. Sam, Mike, Will. Okay, we told this X receiver to go aim for this safety to block that safety. So obviously you go to where the guy's going to be. So you're trying to get across the field to block him. In all honesty, to block him. If you go here for him, he's gone and he's gone. Snap of the ball. So you've wasted a guy. And in all intents and purposes, actually, I'm sorry. That was the backside. This is actually the front side. I'm getting excited. So the X is on the front side. What I just drew up was the backside. Okay, but this is the front side. So on the front side, he's got the corner to the safety. Okay, because remember the play is being run 25. My fault. All right. So if this guy were to stay squat and this guy were to drop, he's got him. If this guy were to drop and he were to come down, he blocks him. So this guy would go off the ball 1-2 steps, read what he does. Most dangerous man you got, he's the most dangerous man, you block him. He drops, you got him. On this side, what you had on just regular 25 Indy. Okay, there's no RPO built into it yet. The 25 Indy, you had a bubble. So he blocked him. And the R back, because he was stacked, instead of bubbling, okay, he could bubble. We taught both ways. He would bubble, and then we would step away. So if he was bubbling, he would open, cross over, and look for the ball. If he stepped away, he would just open and step away. And then what you had was you had your T-back would come flat first. Quarterback would take the snap, and he would open here. So he would actually step towards the line of scrimmage, and now he's watching the end. Here's his read. So the reason why we go flat is because we want the end to make a decision faster. So if he's flat, and then once he gets to the strong side guard, the strong side leg of the center, now he takes the ball, now he's coming downhill. Okay, this is where he would go. And he would read the block of the two eye. So if the end went out and maybe they washed the nose and he came in here, well then maybe the back would try and bounce, whatever, if it was a give. You knew it was a give if quarterback was looking at one thing. If the end, as soon as the tackle stepped, squeezed, it was a pull for the quarterback. Because now you had 3-on-2, even if the safety was high. Even if the safety was high. If you go back to the original look I drew up with the safety high, and you had the safety, the Mike, the Will, and the Buck. Okay, well now if you're running zone, Now the X receiver's got to read here to here. So obviously he comes down on the ball, and the snap of the ball, you can't block him. I mean, it's probably going to be a crack. So you still block him here. Okay, but that's fine. If he does that, you know, if there's some sort of game here, you know, he can get through it to the second level. There's no one there. So we want him to come down the ball. But once again, here is your read. If the end crashed or bend, the quarterback then would pull the ball. Here's your triple option. So now he's out here. Okay? So he now throws the bubble. Okay? So, because he could potentially take the ball and run with it if he wanted to. He could potentially take the ball and run with it if he wanted to. A lot of times you get a lot of squeeze and scrape, which basically means this happens and then this guy comes around. So you may think you're out in the clear, but you're really not. So if for some reason this were to happen, the end bends, the mic comes around, as you start to attack, you see this guy here throw the ball there. Why? Because once again, you got 3 over there too. If you get 2 decent blocks, you got at least 5 yards. If for some reason the mic doesn't scrape, he stays where he is, well, now the quarterback can take it and run. Because once again, now you got 4 on 2. Okay? If for some reason the end hedges, so we call it a hedge, where the tackle steps down, and here's the end, he steps and he plays in between. So he steps down, but he shuffles out because he's watching this. Because now he's responsible for him. And maybe they do something here. If that happens, you give the ball. There's your zone concept with your pull concept. So now if he stays out here, now you got your combo. You got your 2 for 2, your 2 for 2, your solo here, your solo here. He's reading here to here. Here's your safety deep. The tailback's coming to the ball. Quarterback always finishes out. He's attacking downhill and reading this block. If the double team goes this way, he's now cutting in here. If the double team goes that way, he's cutting back here. Almost never do that. That's bad. Seen that happen a couple times, you know, bounce outside out of 10 times, maybe 1 time it works. We don't want that. We also don't want that. Okay? So really quick, I think I got a few minutes left. I want to draw up against the shade the other way. Okay, so now you shaded the other way. So you now I see I switched them up. So now you're running 35. I switched them up. So now you get your 5 technique to the strength. He's in a 2-eye. He's in a 3. He's in a 5. Okay, you still got your same formation. You got a safety over here. All right, you got actually a Sam linebacker here and your strong safety over here. Okay, or they go too high. It doesn't matter. Golden rules: if we saw too high, we want to run the ball. Okay, but now you want to run. Now you want to run. Now they slid the front in the other direction. Okay, so now you're running to the 3 technique. So once again, you got these two here, 2 for 2. These 2 for 2, and him here. So you got your tug here. You chug here, and your solo here. Tug simply meant tackle and guard. Chug simply meant center and guard. So now your tackle's got to step to get to that shade. He posted here so that this didn't happen. Okay? And then they would work to here. He would step to the shade. He would post to get to here. He was solo. Okay? You are inside leg of the guard coming downhill to the ball. You have a block here and a block here. Remember, we're not doing the RPO yet. I'm just showing you the first step to it. So this is 35 inside zone with a bubble or a step back combo. So he's a bubble and a stepping back. Reading the end. The end bends. Quarterback pulls it. He looks for the next read. If he sees this over the top, throws it here. If the running back stays, maybe presses it more. Because then guess what happens? Maybe he comes in here like that. And then if that happens, he throws the ball. It's still a game. Still playing a game. We got more than they got. If he hedges his bets and he plays outside, okay, now you're reading the three techniques. So now you're reading the outside leg of that guard. So if you get push out this way, now here's your cutback. This was critical, this block. So this tackle had to get there so they can get movement. You could potentially get cut back here if they washed it down. And you could also get a wash here and a kick out, and he could come here. That's where you wanted to stay. So this was 1, this is 2, this is 3. You didn't want to do this. We didn't have anyone to block him. All right, even if he blocked him, he would be unblockable. You didn't want to go back in the other direction. Okay? So we're going to keep it at that for today. So today we just kind of went over offense. We're inside zone, 24 and 25 Indy. We're 34 and 35. Remember, 25 went to the T, 35 went to the R. You got your block concept. So right now what you're doing in this concept is you're either handing the ball off against the 2-eye or the 3. You're pulling the ball. The quarterback becomes a runner. And if not, he's throwing the bubble or the stick or the stay route. Next week what we'll do is we'll come back and I'll show you the RPO off of this where you lock it and then you get to the point where you start to move this guy around. Like I said, this could be a 6 or 7 week series. So with that said, hopefully you got something out of this today. Once again, subscribe to the channel. We got, I think, 14 subscribers so far and going up. Like it, hit the bell. I got some giveaways to give away in the next couple weeks. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Chalk Talk with Coach Flo. Have a great weekend.